Hi, I'm Erica Stice, and I'm the studio coordinator at Halstead. And today we want to talk about the new advanced wire wrapping kit that we carry. Now, when we got this wire wrapping kit in, I was really excited. I've never done wire wrapping before, so I wanted to see the elements of the kit and kind of get familiar with wire wrapping. And I had a lot of fun doing it. So if you haven't tried wire wrapping, I suggest giving it a go because it's really absolutely relaxing. So let me show you some of the pieces I made. So here I started out with more beginner type of wire wrapping just to get familiar with it and how the wire worked. And so here I started out with the beginners, and then I moved to intermediate, and then these are more advanced pieces. So this is a simple basic wrap, and what I did was we had these great beads in our studio up here. And I wanted to hang it onto one of these blue glass tops. Now we've had these glass tops up here for a while and I haven't really ever used them. So I thought the two look great together. So I wire wrapped the bottom one onto the glass top. And then I also bail wrapped up here. I put a bail in here and I wire wrapped. And I used the two bezel here to do a simple little embellishment because we had these champagne CZs that look great with this piece. So that was the beginner's wrap. That's how I started out. Now this more advanced wrap, I think I used an 8 or 10 gauge right here for the frame, the main frame right here, which you can see is really heavy. I textured that down with like a 1-pound hammer, and then I used thick copper wire to go ahead and wrap this around. And I also wanted to add this little pearl embellishment. I think it's like a little pearl bead into the piece, as well as this copper scrap I had. And this is a little texture copper scrap I think ran through the rolling mill. So I used that hard wire to go ahead and wrap this up, and it kind of hangs away from the copper background. And that was a fun, neat little piece I liked to do. Now over here I wanted to try something more advanced, so I wanted to try some leaves. So for this I used, I believe it was an 18 gauge frame for the thick part of the copper leaf. And then I used 22 to do all the wire wrapping in. Now this is a little bit big, it's a little bit bulky because of the thick 22 gauge I tried to use for a really delicate piece. So I was interested to try it with sterling silver after that. So I decided to make 2 sterling silver earrings using the same leaf theme, except I also wanted to try putting in these moonstones. And so what I did was I made the basic leaf wrap you saw over here, except I just simplified it a little bit. Now I used 26 gauge to do the delicate work, and I only used 22 gauge to do the framing on this. I added another part up here just to hang the moonstone on, and added a couple beads at the bottom for design, and then I put a few loops in there. And then I used a fabricated ear wire to hang it from. So those were the wire wrap pieces that I started out making. Now let's go ahead and go through the tools. So the tools that come with the advanced wire wrapping kit, you get your basics, you get your wire cutters, your round nose tip pliers, your chain nose pliers, and your bent nose pliers. And those are standard. Now you might want to use some flat nose pliers if you want to do some extreme, bends, 90-degree bends. The flat nose did not come with this. I use a lot of flat nose pliers, but that's up to you. That may be something you'd want to get, or if you have, you'll probably want to use it. Now this is a pin vise. The pin vise spins right down here. So what you do is you want to use this to twist your wire. So you'll put 2 pieces of wire in here, and then put that on your palm, and you want to spin it with your thumb and forefinger, and this will get your wire twisting. The other end of this will go into a like a bench vise or something. We sell a bench vise separately from this kit, and it's about $10, and it's a tiny little bench vise you put on the edge of your desk. And like I said, this is item number X204, and it's sold separately if you don't have a bench vise, and that's if you need one. We have a brass gauge, and the brass gauge opens and closes by just sliding this right here, this little knob in it. We also have a wire gauge, and this goes from 8 gauge up to 34 gauge. It comes with a file. I think this is a cut 2 file. It's a little needle nose file to get little burrs off after you cut it with the wire cutters. You also get 2 mandrels, and each mandrel has 5 tiers on it. It's 5 different sizes, so it's really nice. You can make a lot of loops with these. The next thing it comes with is with a rawhide hammer. Now, rawhide hammers, of course, are great for not marring up your metal, and they're kind of hard when you first get them, but a trick I learned in school was to kind of rub it against concrete or cement outside, and that'll soften it up. But it shouldn't mar your metal from the get-go. We use ours straight out up without doing that with the concrete, but that's just a little trick. You also get a ring mandrel, and this is sized 1 through 15, so it's standard big heavy steel ring mandrel. And it comes with a ruler. Now this is an inch ruler on one side and a centimeter ruler on the other. Now it comes with a vise, with a head magnifier, sorry. It comes with a head magnifier, and this has 3 different magnifications on it. So you have the swinging one in the front that will swing in front, or you can kick it out of the way by swinging it that way. You have your regular one that's always in front of the vise, and then you can also kick up a third one that snaps in at the bottom. And then you just snap it if you don't need that much magnification. And the last thing I want to talk to you that comes with the advanced wire wrapping kit is this nice book. This is from Ed Sinclair, and it's called Moods in Wire. And this is loaded with nice detailed projects to do. So you can work from beginners to more advanced projects. It's very simple to follow. It comes with a lot of nice pictures and stuff. And I really like how easy it is to follow his directions. This is a great book to start out with. A couple other things you're going to need though. Now this comes with almost everything you need. There's just a few other things I wanted to mention besides the bench vise. You're going to need a permanent marker to make your markings with. I had already mentioned the bench vise and the flat nose pliers, but you're also going to want a storage containment to hold on to all these beads and stuff you're going to start acquiring, because this is fun. It's fun to wire wrap, and you're going to acquire a lot of stuff. So you'll want an assortment of bead sizes, maybe 4 to 9 millimeters if you want to follow his directions specifically. He also works with slabs, cabs, and fossilized shark teeth. Now those are optional, of course, but to follow along with everything in his book, you'll want to get all that. And your wire. Now I suggest working with copper wire first. It's a lot cheaper than sterling silver. I suggest using about 20 to 22 for your framing, and maybe around 24 to do your detailed work with copper. Now with sterling silver, I use 16 to 18 for framing, for the heavier framing, and 20 to 22 for your strength, for solid parts that you want. And for the really intricate detailed work, like on that sterling silver leaf, I use 26 gauge. So 24 to 26 gauge really gives you some nice detailed work. Now you also want to use half hard at the hardest for your temper, because this is going to work harden really quickly. I noticed that when I was using it, it was work hardening very, very quickly. So you want to use softer because it will work harden throughout your project. So anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do some simple hoops and jump rings. So this is a simple hoop you'll be making. It's made out of 20 gauge copper wire. And to create this hoop, what you'll want to do, let me move that out of the way off to the side, is you're going to want a piece of wire, and go ahead and get a pre-measurement on it. Now you're going to want to find something round, a round wooden block or anything round the size that you want to make the hoop. So you're going to swing it around like this, and you want to go about a ½ inch past what you need, because you're going to want to account for the hoop, and you're also going to want to account for the little hook in it. So go ahead and snip that off and move your wire off to the side, and you don't need the dowel right now. So first I'm going to straighten it, and to straighten it I like using our nylon tip pliers. They won't mar it or anything, and they straighten it really fast and easily. So let's start by putting the loop in it. So what you're going to want to do is, if you find a spot on here that you really like to make your loops, go to the top and go ahead and you can mark this with a permanent marker. You're going to twist it and then pull your round nose out of the loop and come back around this way, because you want your two sides to meet. And now I like to put a little bend in it. So I'll just kick that back and put a little bend so that it's more straightened out. So take your round dowel and as tightly as you can wrap it around. And this is a good time to use your rawhide to straighten that out. If you needed to, you can pound that up against your dowel. And pull that out, and now you want to cut off the little tip. It's a little bit too much, so I'll just cut that off. And now I'll put a little hook in it. And that's it. So let me show you how to make simple jump rings. We like to use dowels here in the employee studio at Halstead because they're safe. You could saw right into them. And you don't have to worry about loose jump rings either. So we have two different sizes here. We have 3/8 of an inch and we also have a 1/4 inch dowels. And that way they have choices between lengths. Now I've started this on the 3/8 of an inch one dowel, and you want to just turn them. You want to make the jump rings as tight as you can. So go ahead and just wrap them around your dowel. And you can do it with your hand. It's really easy to do. And you want to push them towards the edge and take them over to your bench pin. So here's a neat little trick. Go ahead and use masking tape to wrap it around, and it'll hold your pieces more in place, and your fingers can kind of get out of the way. And it'll hold the jump rings more steady so they're easier to saw through. And with a saw, go ahead and hold on to those. Go ahead and hold on to the ends and watch your fingers so you don't saw into yourself. And go ahead and cut at an angle. And they'll start falling right off. The first one's always going to be a bad one. So go ahead and get rid of that one and put it to the side and put in your scrap. But that's the size that the 3/8 of an inch makes. Thanks for watching this video. I'm Erica Stice, and we'll see you later.